Welcome. We'll get right into it here. And first, we're going to go over to you, Matt. And I guess, you know, occasionally things get found in the wrong place. So can you explain a little bit?
Sure. So this is an article from Ars Technica. Uber left something on their GitHub gists, which is small snippets of code or text. They haven't been very, forthcoming with what exactly they were, but what it sounds like is these were some sort of security keys, maybe API keys or database passwords, that allowed an attacker back in May of 2014 to extract information from a protected database containing drivers' names and drivers' license numbers. Now, this is, one of the older stories in the book at this point. You leave something out on the internet, someone's going to find it and find a way to abuse it. I think a couple months back, we actually had an article on the show where someone accidentally left their AWS key in GitHub, and some bot came by, scraped it, and spun up a whole bunch of instances to mine Bitcoin or something like that. I mean, this happens to, it sounds like it happens to everybody at this point. GitHub has gone and filed a John Doe lawsuit to try to unmask who was behind this, and has actually tried to subpoena GitHub to get the IP addresses that might have actually accessed this information.
So Uber, I'm sorry, Uber is doing the investigation into this to try to figure out who got access to it, and they've subpoenaed GitHub, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I heard it maybe a little bit differently, so just wanted to make sure we got it clear. That's no problem. I've called you Stan before, so this can't be too bad.
Yeah. But that's the long and short of it. I mean, like I said, one of the older stories in the book at this point, but something to be aware of if you're a developer. Make sure this is not left. You don't want to leave your keys out under the mat when everyone's checking underneath the mat.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, no pun intended, I presume. No, I'm sorry. So in any case, this is interesting to me, not just in the the mistake that was made in access to it, but I haven't heard too often in the past discussion about driver's license information being sensitive personal information, but it seems like that would be information that could be used or abused in some manner. Do you have any theories on this? Like I said, I haven't heard of too many cases of that in the past.
I don't know about any cases, but I think if you were in the business of forging driver's licenses, a valid number and name would get you pretty far.
It would be a lot
I'm not quite sure how much of that information, if it's got everything from your driver's license, it's got your home address, potentially.
Well, certainly you have other personal information that you might consider sensitive. Right. Birth date and information like that.
Which you might be able to use to leverage for other purposes if you get enough pieces of those information.
That's true. If someone's using driver's license numbers as a validation for some other system.
Good point. So obviously something that we want to be paying attention to going forward. Hopefully they'll get this mess a little straightened out.
Yeah, be careful where you keep your source code, right? I'm always kind of surprised people keep their source code up on public places and whatnot and things like that. Like I would.
Well, if it's an open source project, I think the significance here is distinguishing and separating what is, really the sensitive information, the keys, from the actual source code itself. That's what I perceive to be the mistake here. Right. Is that that separation wasn't made. In fact, in a particular installation, any configuration information I would consider to be separate, but you do want configuration management around that as well. So I guess that becomes the trick. Now, GitHub provides private spaces, right? Isn't that
that's true?
The
yes.
case? And so this was a case where it got put into a public space by accident. Do I understand correctly? Yeah. And so that's, I guess, an aspect of this that needs to be. It's not so much that it's being stored in the cloud. It's the fact that perhaps the roles or the permissions weren't managed correctly.
Right. Carefully placed there with the proper permissions.
Right.